Need something to help perk you up for prepping your next D&D session? Or maybe you need to chill out before bed after some amazing RP? Well, Many Worlds Tavern has you covered with an assortment of coffees and teas to get you through your day. Can't decide? Get on their monthly subscription plan and get a new coffee or tea to your mailbox every month, along with a set of dice, a sticker, and a homebrewed item or spell for your next character build. Use code Shelly for 10% off your next order. Again, that's code Shelly, SHELLY, for 10% off your order, excluding the monthly subscription. Drink well, roll better. Many Worlds Tavern. Hello and welcome back to After the Table, a TTRPG podcast. 'Tis I, your favorite plus-size burlesque performer, Shelly Von Miller, and this episode is quite special, y'all, because one, it's the kickoff of season 2! We made it! Oh my gosh, I know, I'm shocked and amazed myself. I can't believe it. Thank you for everybody who listened to season 1, and if you're here for season 2, and this is your first time hearing my voice or seeing my face, go listen to all of season 1. It's everywhere you get your podcast, including in visual form on Spotify and YouTube. Yeah, I know, you can see people. The other reason that it's special, number 2, is because our guest for today is someone that is amazing and talented, has a heart of gold, and is an advocate for all, except for bigots. Bigots can go kick rocks. They are a producer at House of Dreams, a cosplayer, and I have the distinct pleasure of getting to know them because of Gen Con and PAX East. Welcome to the table, Diamond Lynn. Hello, Diamond.
Hello, Shelly. Oh my goodness, you did the best intros. Oh my goodness,
yeah,
feels so special.
I try. I like I've mentioned a couple times. Kelly Mantle, the drag queen, has her own podcast, and she does like these, like, non-scripted intros to her guests, and I'm like, I can't do that. I have a script. I mean, sometimes I will stray from script, but I have script. I have purse, I have script.
Honestly, that's the best way to do it, is improv with a little bit of scripting is fantastic.
Yeah. That's my DM roles. That's how I do it as a DM. I'm like, I have a framework, we'll go from there.
I have 2 moods. Either everything is written out and planned exactly, or it's 3 notes of goblin with a fat ass. Plot? Question mark?
Yes.
Chili dogs.
Yes. Chili dogs. You know what? 4th of July, goblin with a fat ass, chili dog eating contest.
Absolutely. See, you got the plot. You that's an entire plot right there. But hello. Welcome to season 2.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. So, hi, my name is MadnessDiamond, but since we're friends now, you can call me Diamond. I go by Diamond Lynn on all the socials, or you can call me Madness, you can call me Diamond, you can call me your Diamond, if you would like, if you want to be spicy like that. I use they, she pronouns. I am a TTRPG actual play performer, producer, admin. I do a lot in the TTRPG space. I'm also a setting writer. I am a fuck around and find out kind of author here and there, or on the writer spectrum of things. I am also an artist, and I'm also a sex worker who works with nonprofits based in Miami-Dade, Florida, Yaya Por Vida, and then also Decom 305, where I'm their administrative assistant. As Shelly said before, I also am one of the lead producers and admins for House of Dreams, which is a TTRPG actual play kind of space. It's a community space, but it's also on Twitch, and we do a lot of things for charity. So, because why not? And that is run by Hector Reyes Jr., or Kachi Okami, and I'm basically Hector's left hand for that one. I'm also the administrative coordinator for Dinner and a Game, which is also another TTRPG streaming actual play space. And then I'm also the community manager for the cast side of things for World Tree Quests, which is also another one in the space as well. And yeah, and then I have my own production server, which is Jordan Productions, where I'm coordinating basically everything I'm attempting to do of my own projects and things and working with people. And I'm also the creator of Foundations of Iridescence, which is a community-led, lead with love kind of nonprofit initiate to give mutual aid to the two nonprofits I work with whenever I decide to run events through that. So yeah, I've got a laundry list of things, but you can find everything that I mentioned on my Beacons page, which is beacons.ai/MadnessDiamond. I try to keep it updated, actual play schedule, where I'll be, where you can find me, everything of such. So yes.
AKA Diamond is super busy, and I'm just happy that she is able to fit me into her schedule.
Oh, Shelly messaged me. It's like, hey, question. I'm like, absolutely, whatever it is, whatever you need. You're gorgeous. You're talented. You're hardworking. I want to spend time with you. Let's go. Give me the Calendly link. Let's do this.
So speaking of the how we met is at PAX East this year, 2025, because I decided to mask up and get the courage to be like, hey, by the way, your outfit at your panel was like really cute, and then. But you were also talking to Sephi, aka Persephone Valentine, who I absolutely adore.
Oh, bless Sephi all the time.
I bless them, and I bless them for real. But that is probably like the queerest way to like become friends with somebody. By the way, we are friends.
We are friends. Yes,
we are friends.
Yes, we are friends.
Yes. Okay.
My heart sings.
Yay!
I now, like, I was on the Who's the Boss panel at PAX East, run by Honorian, and it was myself, Iffy, Blizzbear, Safi, and Peachy, Brit. And it was a grand time. It was wonderful. It's basically ranking to see who's the best boss. And I felt so underqualified to be there. And so the only way I could not have the nerves is to dress like a bunny girl. I'm just like, you know what? Bunny girl. How we're gonna handle this. Which is actually, funnily enough, the first panel I've ever been on.
So you were a bunny girl on the panel.
Okay. We all handle our stage fright and anxiety differently. It was the first time I was ever on a panel, and I was with a stacked cast of people. And so I'm like, I have the feelings of the imposter syndrome. But if I look hot and there are bunny ears to distract from my nerves, then it works. But yeah, we basically ranked all the different bosses from video games. I'm not a gamer per se, but I'm in the space enough and I've read enough fan fiction on AO3 that I think I'm qualified sometimes.
Oh, AO3. How I love
my beloved.
Yes, my beloved AO3. Don't ask for my AO3 history or readings. I will give it to you.
Listen, my bless.
But
I have nothing to hide. My AO3 username and my normal username are the same username. I am a person of taste. Anything that I don't want public, I don't put it as a recommendation.
There you go.
I have that as a private bookmark, and there are very few of those.
Oh my gosh. So, speaking of cons, what are your favorite parts of like going to cons like that? Going to like a PAX or a Gen Con or anything like that?
It's always just meeting people. So I live in the Midwest. I live in St. Louis specifically, and there's not a lot of conventions focused around tabletop things here. And like there's maybe like a couple of LGSs that might hold like an event or something. But I'm also someone who doesn't really leave the house a lot. Because of the bad times of 2020, I like end up becoming agoraphobic a little bit. And so whenever I did go full force into tabletop, I then was like, I kind of want to start going to cons again, because I used to go to cons as a cosplayer. I used to, build these cosplays and then go and have fun and party and that kind of stuff. But like, that was kind of it. but it wasn't a lot of like actually meeting people and making friends, versus like with PAX East and Gen Con, because I've been to Gen Con twice. This will be my third year. But this was my first time going to PAX. And I was really excited because it's like so many people who I had either heard of, who were friends of friends, or who like I might have met in passing, or who I might follow. I saw we're going to PAX, and I'm like, I can actually meet this person face to face. Like, I can have FaceTime with like these people. It's not like based on internet connection and scheduling. It's like, no, we're both going to be in the same space together. I really enjoy that. I'm someone who actually really enjoys networking, but I am a very genuine networker in that I'm not going to be like business professional. I'm a weirdo. I'm very like bombastic at times. I'm very loud at times. I get very excited about the things that I love and that I care about, and the people that I love and care about. And so like I like going and meeting, you know, the people running the booth of a company that I really like, because if they are running the booth for it, they might have the same interests as me. I don't need them to become my bestie by the end of it, but I do want to like see if I can get them to talk about what they actually like, because I like hearing about people's interests. And so getting to go to cons and make those connections then means that like when I do have something coming up that like, oh, I'd really like to have this kind of voice through this project. Well, I met this person at this convention, so I'll reach out to them, see if they still remember me, see if they're interested. And then if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And so I really like the face-to-face time. I really like the conversational points. I really like that it's not an email, or it's not just a message that's going to be left there. I really like being able to talk about like what I do in the space without it being someone might be skimming over something. I feel like I can pitch myself a lot better in a conversation that's not just like, yeah, we're interviewing for this position. Why should we hire you? Why are you interested in this? It's like, oh, because I need the money to survive. But it's like, I would rather go in with like, oh, I actually am qualified to do this, but not in the way you're expecting. Like, I don't have like a master's degree. I don't have like 20 years of experience in this 10-year field. Like, I'm just someone who has audacity and Google and pretty nice eyebrows sometimes. So I might be able to take over the world. But yeah, that's why I like cons. And then I use those resources I get at conventions to then take back to my community and my network and my friends. I think is like, I do a lot of networking for other people. My best friend, who you got to meet, Kyle, him and I have this thing that he says I do like all the time, which is called that I'll bait and switch people, which is the maneuver for Battle Masters and D&D. So, and I will basically meet somebody, be like, hi, I'm Diamond. I'm this weird, or this is what I do. But you actually need to meet somebody. You need to meet this really cool person who does really cool things. And then I will basically put them in front of me and then give them that shove towards something I think that I believe they can do working with another person.
Do a have you met Ted type of situation. Have you met Ted?
I do.
That's great.
I do that all the time.
I feel like that's sometimes missing, not just in the TTRPG space, but like in content spaces in general. It's more like it's always me, and not a us, and a we.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people have this idea of what a content creator is, and like what who AP people are in general. It's like, yeah, we have to pitch, but like you can pitch and also recommend or introduce other people. I always try to do the like, if I'm with people, I always try to, and like I get sidetracked by talking to somebody else because they don't want to talk. I'm always trying to like reach out and be like, hey, here you go. Hi. This is blah. I
Yeah.
always do like the hey. Oh, hi. It's nice to see you again. Hey, have this is this person because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've been that person where it's like you don't know anybody in the room and it feels really weird and you're like, I'm just gonna leave real quick. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. I think it's also like in a space like this, especially be it whatever niche space you exist in, but especially online, it's everyone views opportunities as a finite resource. And I try not to because that's how, like I said, the imposter syndrome will get you. It will go for your toes first. And I'm somebody where it's like, if I see a casting call and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this would be really fun to do. And I'm always looking at my schedule because I'm a workaholic. This is what I do full time. Um, and then if I see something mentioned in it where it's like, oh, well, this isn't really my vibe, but you know what? It might be like one of these 7 other people's vibes here. And then I'm basically sending it out and I'm sending out messages of like, hey, I found this casting call. Go ahead and like see if this fits your schedule because you might find an opportunity to be at a new table. And I don't think very highly of myself. Like, I'm not like, oh, yes, if I like somebody, they're fantastic. Like, no, like, because I genuinely want to connect with people and I genuinely want to make friends, I genuinely want to help people in any space I exist in. I always say that I like to act as a doorstop for people to keep that door for opportunity open for somebody else or that somebody else can follow. But I don't want them to follow behind me. I want them to follow me so I can open the door and then I'll hold the door open for them. Maybe that's the Midwestern in me. But like I was always taught if there's people walking behind you, like try to hold the door open for as many people as you can before you absolutely have to go. So there are opportunities that I'll see that like, yeah, I might not share them as much as I could because like I really want that opportunity. But I'm not like saying no one else can do this but me. It's more of a like I would also like to be considered because this seems like a really cool opportunity that I could use to advance it. A good example is with the Gen Con participation grant. Whenever I found out that was a thing this year, because didn't know about it last year or the year before, I thought it's like, oh, this is like a really good opportunity because I'm a freelancer. I'm a survival sex worker. I'm not rolling in dough. I'm not Scrooge McDucking into like all the piles of money in my basement. Uh, even though I'd love to, honestly, that sounds fucking fantastic. Um, I saw this and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I know that there's a couple of people who would love to probably go to Gen Con, but financially right now, it's hard. And so I'm looking through like the list of people I know and I'm then sending this out to them and I'm going through basically the Google form that they have for it and like knocking out like basically what are all of these questions they're asking so I can prepare people who might be nervous to apply for something like that because they also have the imposter syndrome. And I look for people who are a little bit more disenfranchised or a lot more disenfranchised than I am, who don't have the privilege that I have. Like, I'm biracial and I'm black, but I'm also incredibly white passing. So I use that to my advantage a lot, where it's like I'll get into spaces and be like, cool, I should not be the only BIPOC person here. Have you met this person? This very lovely, talented person. It's like I'm also mid-sized in like fashion terms. So it's like if I notice I'm the only mid-sized person, it's like, cool, you need more plus-size people. Have you seen this gorgeous person who's talented and well-dressed and puts a lot of effort into what they do in the space for body type representation? So like I'm constantly looking at places that like I know people who can fill that spot. I know people who would thrive and succeed because I could do this on my own, but I don't want to. I want to have my friends with me when I go to places and I want to make new friends and make sure that they stay booked and paid in everything that they do because we're all just trying to have fun and survive in the way that the world's going lately. So I don't understand when people are like, "Oh, me, 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 me." It's like it could be us. It could be you helping out of the goodness of your heart. Like, I take unpaid work constantly because I would rather get the good work done, and then it might open up to a paid opportunity in the future. But I'm also looking at paid opportunities that like might fit somebody better than me, who's more qualified, or their voice would be more useful in a space. And some people are like, no, I'm good enough. I want to be the only XYZ at the table because that makes me special. I'm like, homie, you will likely be the only XYZ at a table because you are you. You are the only version of you that exists in this timeline, allegedly. Um, but like, you can be the best version of yourself, but you can also take people with you.
Yeah, there's no reason to be like, I want to be the quota. It's one, it's lonely. Like, as a person who's been at tables, been in just like work situations where I'm like the only femme in the room, it's like it's not a good time, because you're constantly having to justify why you're there. So it's hey, be cool, man. Be cool, man.
Right.
But what I guess, like, what triggered that for you to be that kind of advocate? I know you're an advocate in nonprofit spaces, but like, what made you switch to that kind of mindset?
So that's kind of how I've always been, even before I got into TTRPGs, before I got into nonprofit spaces. I've really only been doing this since 2022, technically. I've been a sex worker since 2020 online, and then I was an in-person worker before that. But it was very much a thing of like, kind of what you said before about how you end up being the odd one out in friend groups. I had a lot of that growing up, where my best friend wasn't my best friend, or wasn't like, I wasn't their best friend. It's the like, I was kind of always the third person in the friend group, to where it's like, oh well, so and so and like person A and person B are gonna go with so and so to go do this thing. Oh, okay, so we're not hanging out. Oh well, we didn't invite you because XYZ. Like, I come from a very lower middle class, single mom, raising two kids kind of household. So money was always an issue. Money was always kind of the thing of like, my mom couldn't throw $100 at me to go do like Six Flags with my friends. My mom couldn't, like, my mom had to choose between paying the bills and then like any kind of extracurriculars, and then like buying groceries and stuff like that. And she worked really hard to like support me and my other sibling. But at the same time, like, my friends sometimes didn't quite understand that. Like, I never had a car whenever I was in school, because that was an expense that we couldn't cover. I was an honor student, so gifted burnout kid hype. This explains a lot about me. But so with that, it's like, I was always kind of like the one they had to come pick up, the one who couldn't drive if they wanted to go do the thing, the one who like, oh well, I have to wait to buy the concert ticket until like a holiday, or I have to like save up money desperately to get something that everyone else had. I was like the last one in my friend group to have a cell phone. And whenever I moved into more niche spaces, because like, I was always a punk, I was always a goth, like alternative kid. So being a femme presenting person who was also biracial, who was also bisexual in those spaces was like a minefield of, oh, you're only here because guys think it's cool. No, I like the screamy music because it makes my brain feel good. And then whenever I got into comics, because I'm a big comic book nerd, oh, you only like the female characters. No, I really like this character because of this info dump of backstory. Like, and I have the trade issues of this, and this. It's like, oh, you only got into cosplay because you get to be sexy. It's like, no, I've always wanted to dress like this character. My first cosplay was Velma from Scooby-Doo, like a lot of femme presenting people with brown hair and glasses. She was iconic for the time and still is. Everyone's first internet crush or first cosplay crush, that you see a Velma cosplayer and you're just like, I'm in love with you specifically. And so like I got a lot of that. It's like every space I exist in, I'm authentically me, but I still get the you're only here because of this. And I wanted to turn it into I don't want to be alone in this. I don't want somebody else to feel like that. I don't want to be the only person at a TTRPG table who has gone through things that I've gone through. I want people with shared experiences because I feel you tell better stories. And I think the world benefits from that too. Like, I'm not mad if one of my friends decides to cosplay the same character as me down the line. I'm happy. I'm excited. I want to talk about it because I know what it took to build that. Like, I know how hard it is to find this specific makeup piece, this specific wig, like that kind of stuff. And in the TTRPG space especially, I know what it's like to be the only sex worker at the table. And it's one of those things of like having to tiptoe around subjects whenever it comes to me doing my outro, because I want to talk about the stuff that I do in the nonprofit space. But I work with heavily disenfranchised and stigmatized groups of people who are incredibly disenfranchised. And that's a very sensitive topic. And I have to go through the minefield of, oh, I'll just quit my job and become a stripper. Oh, I'll just quit my job and make an OnlyFans. Oh, I'll just get a sugar daddy. Oh, I'll just sell feet pics. And then it's me having to sit there while they're talking about that and me biting my tongue to mute myself because that's all whorephobia. But they don't want to hear about that because they're just making a joke. Or, you know, if they're using verbiage that is basically insulting people who are unhoused, that's ableist. Or and it's like, I don't want to be at tables like that alone. Because you kind of wander into that sometimes because you think, oh, this will be a fun project. But then it's like, then it jump scares you. And it's like, I want to do this and help other people get into these spaces safely because I don't want to have to go through this alone. And it's kind of that like need for companionship that humans feel. It's like, and I pack bond consistently with people. The joke is that I have a hoard, and I do. I am a manticore that is hoarding my precious gems because they're all shiny and special in their own ways. So it's entirely selfish that I don't want to do all this shit alone, but like I'm doing it for the right reasons at least.
Yeah, no, there's a weird thing of like people are wanting to do this, like tell stories and things like that, but they don't realize the reason or like the history behind storytelling and like an oral tradition is it was told around campfires with groups of people of different backgrounds within your community.
Yes.
Why would you want to do it alone? Why would you? I mean, if you're going to do it alone, you might as well just be like narrating an audiobook at that point. Like,
right.
It's I don't know. It hurts my heart.
It's like
it really does.
Yeah. It's something to be said about there's a quote I remember. It's with me, the likelihood of this quote either being in fan fiction or on a Tumblr post that has been haunting me for decades. It's just what it is. It's like the mushroom thing. If you know the existential crisis of a mushroom being a god. But it's very much this thing of you can be content in your loneliness, but there will still be times when having someone be there for you would make your heart feel happier. And it's kind of one of my favorite bands is Fall Out Boy. And it's like, let's be alone together. We can be young forever. And like, I want people that I can be alone with. Like I want people that I can body double with. And like, we don't even have to talk about anything. We can both be doing our own thing and then realize it's like, oh yeah, I am hanging out with you, and then have a conversation. I had that with my platonic soulmate, who is basically my best friend, or is my best friend. We met in college, and it became a thing where I knew their dorm room was always open to me. And so if I had a bad day and I didn't want to talk and I didn't want to exist because college was rough, I would just go into their dorm room and send them a text message like, I'm going to go hide in your dorm room. And they would come back from class, find me literally in their bed with headphones in, probably listening to the same song on Spotify because it's the only thing that itches the brain, right? And then they would just like poke me, be like, you alive? And I would make a noise, let them know I am in fact alive. And then we would just exist together. They might put on a movie, they might work on homework. And then at one point when I didn't want to be alone anymore, I could turn around and there they were, and we could spend time together. Like, that's something that, like, I wish more people realize that it's okay to be alone. It's okay to want time to yourself, but you should also strive to find people you can be alone with. And especially in TTRPGs, like, I love solo TTRPGs. I love duo TTRPGs. I love the concept of them, but I do think that there's something to be said about like a solo TTRPG that you can use as a storytelling mechanic for yourself, and you don't have to share that with anybody. But then there's something wonderful that after the fact, you can then go and talk about it with somebody. And you can go share that solo game with somebody else and see how their results are different. Because that's what enriches the world, is like these different experiences, which is kind of what I like.
As somebody who's very much I don't like being around people all the time, I'm like, I need to talk to people type of situation. Like, whether it's just like we're playing video games or body doubling or just like whatever. It's one of those things like yeah, okay. Like, after this, I will probably just, I was gonna stream today and I'm probably gonna be like, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. Do I really want to date everything in front of people, or do I want to just be by myself right now?
I mean, there's something to be said about taking time for yourself as well, which nobody in this space is good at.
We're all workaholics.
Are so bad at it.
We're all workaholics.
Everyone is.
Speaking of TTRPGs and the TTRPG space, how did you start? What have you always been playing, like things like D&D, or did it start like after a certain part of your life? What I can tell you, with me, it started in 2020 with the pandemic.
Yes. So D&D was always on my periphery because it was something that I had heard fabled tellings of the devil game that caused the satanic panic or was part of the satanic panic. And so I'd always heard about it in that capacity. And I'd always heard about, like, basically, oh, you don't want to be one of those nerds. Because I was a comic book nerd. And I was somebody who devoured books. And I think the very first time I saw anything related to D&D was at my local library when I was maybe in, like, high school. And so this is like early 2010s, maybe like probably 2010. Because like I said, I used to devour books. And so I remember seeing a bunch of guys sitting in one of the like study rooms. And they were like getting all excited and getting all like loud. And like the librarian would go back and be like, you guys can't yell like that. You gotta calm down. And I was just like being nosy. And I like saw that they had all this stuff everywhere. And so I was curious. I'm like, oh, what are they doing in there? And the librarian's like, oh, they're playing some kind of game. And that was kind of the first thing. And I'm like, how are they playing a game without like a console or like a computer? is it like a board game? And so then I legit asked, I'm like, is it like a board game? And she's like, no, maybe, kind of, I don't know. They're rolling dice and doing something, but they're just being loud. I'm like, okay. And I just kind of the first mention that I remember, because now I know they were probably playing D&D. They were probably playing like 2nd edition or 3rd edition or something way back when. And so then that then bridges into like, that was always kind of on my periphery. I knew it existed, didn't know anybody who played it, didn't know anybody who was willing to teach me is the big thing. And then later on, I left college but I still had friends from college, and I went to visit them for, I think it was probably 4th of July or Independence Day or something. And their roommate was offering to run a D&D game for us because he knew how. And I had started watching Critical Role at the time because my first episode of Critical Role was the first episode of Campaign 2. Because, fun fact, I literally got into Critical Role because I was kind of obsessed with Overwatch. And AO3 is a thing, and I was obsessed with, like, 2 characters, being the cowboy and the archer. And so then I was looking at voice actors, and I'm like, what other things has these voice actors done? And so then I found Matthew Mercer, and I'm like, you are in literally everything, sir. Was looking through this man's IMDb page, ends up seeing Critical Role. I'm like, what's that? I've never heard of that game. Go and click on the Twitch thing, and my life changed forever from these nerdy-ass voice actors. Because at first I'm like, okay, I just want to use this as a way that I can hear, like, these voice actors, because I'm, like, playing the game of, like, where do I know everybody from? And then I was actually watching them play it. I was listening to them do the mechanics, I was listening to them tell the story, build these characters, and I fell in love with it. And so then when the opportunity came for me to play for the first time, I built my Dragon Age Inquisitor into a Hexblade Warlock. Because I thought that worked with like the Fade Rift situation and pulling magic from something, translating it for different medias. And then I played a half-orc. But then I noticed very quickly that like, I don't get to pick what the other half of me is. I'm just a half-orc. And I said, no, I am a half-orc, half-high elf, because fuck you. Learn how to play. My first, like, natural 20 was actually putting a basically low-jacked gemstone on a bandit so we could track them by trying to bribe them with this very obviously, like, low-jacked, like, gemstone. My first natural 20 on a charisma save. On, like, I think it was a persuasion check. And I was so excited. And I'm like, oh no, I'm never going back. That game turned into a home game long distance. Of course, as it happens, scheduling issues come up. Then 2020 happened, and I was really active on TikTok, and I would see D&D TikTok content and people talking about these characters and cosplaying their characters, so I made my own character, and like, that account got banned. I lost contact with a bunch of people, made my new account, and yeah. For our podcast, for our listeners, Shelly's making a face at me when I mentioned my account got banned.
Oh, TikTok bans.
And so then that turned, yeah. And so I then made friends with who became my first real online GM. My friend JM invited me to play a Pathfinder game, which was Pathfinder First Edition that was hacked with Final Fantasy. When I tell you that was a time learning that, and that was in about 2022. And so I played, my first streamed character is a Viera rogue, because Viera have a thing called Deadly Courtesan that is like a racial like thing you can take background basically. Me being a sex worker, I'm like, courtesans, we're sex workers pretty much. I want to see how I can flavor this. And I got to tell my first online character being a sex worker and what that looked like, but also being bad at math. It's kind of also my whole thing, which is so funny. But yeah, so I've been doing it online since 2022, but it's been in my life for God knows how long, honestly. And I like using it as a method to tell stories and meet people. So
I love that. That's amazing. I've never played Pathfinder.
It's so much math.
I hear that, and as somebody who, even as a DM, requires a calculator, no thank you. No thank you. That's amazing. That, oh wow. That, yes.
I've lived a life.
Yes. But, okay, that leads me to another question of, your first AP character was a sex worker. How did that conversation go with the table that you were at? And by the way, we are pro sex worker, and despite me being like ace, I'm pro sex. I'm an adult. I've had it. Hello.
Right?
It's normal.
Hello. It happens. If it's for you, it's for you. If
Exactly.
it's not, it's not.
So,
Like,
before you get in the comments of being like, oh, get fucked. Kick
Grumble,
rocks.
grumble, grumble.
Okay, we're pro sex worker.
Kick
Pro,
rocks.
like, I take my clothes off on fucking stage, alright? Let's be fucking for real. I mean, I don't get full nude, but, like, hello.
I do it on the internet, so
Real.
valid.
So, what did that conversation look like, and what have the conversations looked like since then, whenever it comes to either you as a person and your background, or, like, a character that you're trying to build that might have some sort of flavoring that is sex work adjacent?
So, when I was workshopping that character, whose name is Hyacinth, Hyacinth Leavenwoods, which is a pun because Hyacinth is a bunny in the Final Fantasy world, and bunnies all live in the woods, but Hyacinth left the woods. Hyacinth was also my first non-binary character, and Hyacinth is the reason why I changed my pronouns. Once upon a time, Diamond was just a she, her. And then the bunny happened. Bunnies fix everything. Bunny girls fix everything. And bunny boys. Bunny equality.
So, hey, if you are a furry in a game, you'll probably be non-binary. So. Sorry.
Listen, I'm a furry. I'm a monster fucker. I'd bet. So, like, whenever I was looking through to build that character, because Pathfinder was foreign to me, and because we were using the Final Fantasy version of it, which is written by, like, a handful of people that just wanted to play whatever the multiplayer version of Final Fantasy is, using Pathfinder is literally the framework for this. I knew so little about it. The only few characters that I knew in Final Fantasy were, like, mainly the ones from 7, a little bit of 10, but I also remembered there was a bunny girl, which is my one true love, Fran. And Fran was a badass. And so I was thinking about it. I'm like, I could be a cat because I like cats. But I'm like, but Fran is one of the loves of my life. And she's kind of mean sometimes. And I'm into that, in, like, especially in video game characters. And so I decided, it's like, I'm gonna be a bunny. And I was looking through basically everything about it, and I saw Deadly Courtesan. And I'm like, oh, let me check something real quick. I Googled the word courtesan just to double check before I brought up the conversation. I'm like, cool. Historically, courtesans have been sex workers, which is something I already knew, but I needed backup through, like, an actual website that was accredited, not just Wikipedia. And then I brought it to my friend, JM, and I'm like, what if I did this? And the idea is that I wanted Hyacinth to be a Viera who left the big woods and basically trained under another Viera who had left the woods in the city to function amongst normal people in society, and then learn and using thief skills, because it's, instead of being rogue, it's a thief, to then gather information. Because one of the things that I always put in my worlds, where I try to ingrain in character world building if I can, is that what better way to gather information than through a very vulnerable moment. And it's kind of historically how that's gone with sex workers in espionage spaces, because sex workers hear everything. It's, you don't pay attention to the bartender, you don't pay attention to the busboy, and it's using that as a network of information gathering, but it's using it specifically as like this very disenfranchised group taking back power where they can. And I thought that narrative, like, that would be really cool to do with Hyacinth, because we were already told in our session 0 that one of the things we could do is build a brothel, and you can bring back NPCs from different parts of the world who need a place to stay that will be on our home base island. And I might have bullied the NPC who was trying to kill us, who was running the Thieves Guild, into... I might have also bullied the GM into not having us kill him, so I could keep him for my own nefarious intent of making him my business partner. So the conversation wasn't like all at once. It was very much between me and GM going back and forth about how, like, ideally I would like this to happen. And JM is very much one of those people who, he's a writer. He's so much a yes and person. He's very much how can we develop this into the story, and was putting story threads and plot lines in there for me to basically work on, because I was willing to do the work in character. Where the only time I actually spent money as that character is investing back into the town that we were meant to build. And it was me dropping a bag of coin on a table to that leader of the Thieves Guild and being, it's like, I want to work with you. Here's money. We're business partners. You don't work for me. I don't work for you. We work together. And then it was me and JM sitting down and figuring out what that would look like with the flower shop, and how the flowers, because Hyacinth's name is a flower name, and how, like, could basically have all of these flower shop attendants who are sex workers in different capacities, because Hyacinth, being a courtesan, was asexual and never slept with anybody, which is incredibly common in sex work. Most sex workers are some kind of neurodivergent, disabled, some kind of like sexuality besides just straight, might be in relationships with somebody and might have other things going on. They have their own things that they do and don't do. And for Hyacinth, it's that they're asexual, but they do know how the body works enough to give you a good experience, and whatever that looks like, which might just be companionship. And it was telling that story through Hyacinth that I loved. And like, I would clear it with the other players at the table whenever something would come up, or I might make a joke. Like, I made a joke once that is clipped somewhere of, oh, Hyacinth is going to go up and order a room with a bed big enough for 3. Because Hyacinth spent money to spend the night with 2 people who are courtesans in that area to get the tea on the area, which is something that I saw Critical Role do whenever Mollymock did it. So it's like, I saw a big space do it, and I'm like, I could do this at a small table as long as everybody's fine with it. But it happened off camera. It's like, I basically got a DM with a bunch of notes on it and be like, this is what you learn. This is how much money you spend. And then I basically made sure to narratively work that in with purpose, because I think it's like, it's very purposeful representation instead of it just being shoved in of like, oh yeah, used to work as a dancer at the Pink Pony Club. Like, cool. But like, I want to actually have a narrative reason for why I'm doing this. There's nothing against doing that. It's just more of a, like, I want to actually play like a fully fleshed out character. So that was my first. And then I've played Soiree on Guardians of Neptune's Cairn, which was a Werewolf the Apocalypse W5 game on the Starfield. Soiree was a stripper, and Soiree was also a silver-fanged Ragabash. So my concept for Soiree was heavy as the crown, and Soiree is very much one of those, like, Soiree is a dancer, Soiree is a sex worker, is a bartender, but Soiree will also ruin your day with a left hook, because I put so many points in strength in that girly pop. And Soiree was a lesbian. And it was really fun getting to tell that story. My GM for that was Star Short Stories. And I made it clear, it's like, I want to be like a Coyote Ugly-esque stripper with this. And Starshard went as far as to say, it's like, here's the club you work at. Here's what that looks like. Here's what that mechanically this does in the World of Darkness narrative. I think the only other time that I've had like alluding to sex work, were also World of Darkness characters of mine. My very first vampire, Kit E. Thames, the gangrel, the independent gangrel, mind you, that I did on 20 Cities by Night. I didn't get to touch on it because it wasn't something that I felt comfortable bringing up to that table specifically, because our storyteller was so new. And I didn't know how he felt about having that in his narrative, it was more of I wanted to be respectful, and I was also playing with brand new people versus with JM. Like, that's my Pisces buddy. That's me, and JM go back and forth constantly. But like with this new table of people, I'm like, I'm not sure how comfortable I am telling that kind of story, but I'm going to have alludings to it. And it's that Kit was a sugar baby and basically operates in that, like, that's kind of the thing. But Kit does the thing with sugar babying as a gangrel, where it's very much Kit was a cat burglar. Kit would find basically like people who aren't good people and then decide, I'm going to entertain you for a bit, and then I will in fact restore justice because I'm hungry. And then it's also, I've done Arist, who was my Ventru, and Arist was also had a benefactor. Arist was the story of basically someone who did sex work to get into higher education, and then found a benefactor who then was only willing to support them if they changed everything about themselves to fit an image, which is a very big thing that sex workers go through a lot, is we change a lot about who we are to fit that perception that people want us to fit into. So Arist is my mirror of Arist character. It's the mirror of desire. And playing that as a Ventru, I felt was one of the things I really wanted to do, but I didn't really get to explore that a lot in that chronicle. Twin Cities by Night was my first vampire chronicle, 1 and 2 that I did. But those are 2 characters I would love to bring back in different spaces and actually explore those storylines, especially as with the narratives that I want with them. I see you plotting things, Shelly Von Miller. Because I know you also have a vampire.
Yes, my girl Ashley Dame.
Girly pop.
The Ventral Primogen of Chicago. Yeah, it's crazy. She's...
So yeah. So I've done it a couple of times. I don't have any currently that I'm playing. But that is to be seen.
Yeah.
Me taking the GM seat, is that I can kind of put that in effortlessly. I can make my own characters and have people explore like storylines dealing with sex work as like somebody on the outside and see how they want to interact with those. I do have a very gas lamp setting character that is convertible for Call of Cthulhu, because that's where I originally built them. Probably Candela Obscura. Probably, there's another one that I saw on my timeline that looked really nice that was in that very, noir setting. Daylight Publications also has one, and I write with them. They have a noir setting as well. I have a showgirl. I have a showgirl character who is also a espionage person. I've actually cosplayed them on my TikTok. I haven't named them yet, but it's very much this. I've got the widow's robe. I've got green lingerie. I was dodging community guidelines violations like my fucking life depended on it with that one. But yeah, it's like I have characters like ready to go. It's just finding the table where I know their story will be taken care of, where it won't be like Kit and Eris, where it's like I have these fully realized characters, but nowhere to put them. I have a caitiff named Wraith. Wraith is a caitiff who is also a survival sex worker, but in the sense that they are on the fringes of it, because it's part of being a caitiff is that like you really can't exist anywhere publicly. So they wear the mask of a toreador because was what they were supposed to be. And they like own a cosmetics company. And so their cosmetics company is focused specifically on providing the performance inclined kindred with basically stage makeup. Because unless you want to use the blush of life before every performance, take that rouse check. It's basically Wraith finding a market that needs to be served. But Wraith themselves also has gone through it. So
because I've played a sex worker a couple of times in games. I played a...
Did you have fun?
I liked it because I as somebody who was in academia at one point, and I took a couple of courses, and I've learned about not just like sex work, like, oh, I learned about sex work through history. No, I learned like the history of sex work, of like what, you know, legislation wise and things like that. But like the networking aspect of it as well, of, you know, like you said earlier, like it's a perfect way to get a lot of information and a lot of ways to open up dialogue, and get those little bits of lore from your GM in a way. Like if you roll a great perception or persuasion check, you know, you use that little bit of charisma to get in there. I mean, I had a sex worker in a Candela setting that I played last year for Pride. I named her Fanny Hertz because I am not a drag queen with a pun name, but I wanted a performer, like a burlesque, you know, cabaret, you know, type of situation where I was like, I want a pun named, gosh darn it. So I thought it was a really fun way to incorporate that. And also I had another like off camera Candela game that I was part of that I played a sex worker who was like it was the reason why she got into sex work is because like family issues were not going well. Like the family was in decline, and so like they were running out of money. So it was like sex work out of desperation, but like not telling people. And so she's like getting this information, and people are like, where are you getting this from? I have my connections. And like she's putting on performances and things like that. Like she's putting on full on accents and changing her name and changing how she looks. So it was a great way to kind of just like give different life and show that like it's not just about sex, it's about the connectivity and the I don't know, try to that's just me. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Because I'm one of those people, I love hearing that people are like, oh yeah, I played a sex worker. And I'm like, I want to hear how you made this a person. Because some people are like, yeah, I played a stripper once. I'm just like, I don't like the way you said that. Please give me context. And so like, one of my big goals for maybe the next 2 years, because I've been saying this for years that I want to do it, is to write a supplement. It's basically a guide of how you can build NPCs who are sex workers and how to build a character that's a sex worker and what kind of story you could tell. I've been working on it, probably since I've been in the space, because it started as a guide of how to write sex work and fan fiction. The root of everything is AO3. Just
AO3
with me,
all
at
the way
least.
down.
I live there. You can follow me on AO3 if you want. You're going to be very unsurprised by what you find. But, like, I was writing it because, like, I was reading a lot of fanfics where people were using sex work as a, like, oh, big scary thing they're doing to survive. I'm like, that's not what it's always like. Like, I used to be an in-person worker. It's not always that. Sometimes it's just people are lonely and they want companionship. Like, even nowadays with me being online only, it's like a lot of the stuff that I get requested is just people wanting companionship. And, like, yeah, it might be a little weird sometimes, but, like, I don't judge. Sometimes I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. All right, bet.
Huh.
Like,
interesting.
It's like, I'm learning something about myself. But, like, I want to make a guide one day, or, like, a supplement book that's system malleable, like the world that I built, to then enable people to familiarize themselves with sex work in that way. Because then it just becomes normal. It's not an episode of Law and Order.
Boom, boom.
It's not an episode of Criminal Minds. It's not an episode of fucking NCIS. Mind you, I love all three of those shows. I was raised on that. But, like, I to this day will still Gibbs slap somebody if they're being a Denozo.
Oh,
but,
Denozo.
But, like, I want to be able to tell stories of living sex workers. Not somebody who's just, like, a casualty. I don't want to have to use Speak with Dead to get a sex worker's lore.
So, you know what's funny? Is I've been putting it off for a while now, but I've been wanting to do D&D specific, like, build a setting in a brothel, but also build, like, the backgrounds and feeds that would denote the different types of people that you would see in a brothel type setting. And I'm like,
yeah. Did I unlock something?
Oh, hello, we're gonna work together more.
Hello.
We're gonna work together more.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to. I love collaborating with people on that. Like, I literally was talking to somebody in another server maybe like a month ago, and I pitched them my idea where it's you basically have a thieves guild and a brothel working hand in hand, and the way they communicate is through flower language. And you can literally have the workers be named after flowers. The flower that they're named after is kind of what kind of service they might provide. And then I also told them, it's like, you can very easily make it that, oh, if you spend the night with this person, they will do these things, and make it to where, like, maybe only the player knows to make that informed choice. But then you can get a benefit from it. Like, in my world, if you go and spend the night at one of the establishments, you get healed of basically anything that would qualify under a greater restoration in D&D. Because you're taking the time to take care of yourself. It's downtime. Or if you go and maybe there's a worker there who is qualified in literature and sonnets and poetry, if you go and listen to them and you have them basically bardic inspiration you have a bardic inspiration permanently for, like, the next 24 hours until you spend it. It's like, it's very much integrating these, like, the idea of the level 20 adventurer who retired to go become a bar owner. What if that's what happens with, like, these higher level, maybe former adventurers, or just these higher level NPCs who work in that kind of establishment, who can give you the benefits? Or maybe you get advantage on some kind of history check involving something because you spent time with somebody from somewhere. It's very much that kind of thing. Or if you build a meaningful connection with them because you patronized them a couple of times.
Now you have, like, a
or you've
contact.
given them patronage, not patronized.
No.
Yeah, you have a connection that will say, it's like, oh, I have someone that I spend time with who's from this part of the world. If you ever are in that part of the world, go look for them and tell them I sent you. And tell them I miss them. It's like, maybe you can deliver letters. Maybe you can go in, oh, I've been craving this one kind of drink. because someone brought it to me once, but I don't know the name of it. Congratulations, you have a random herbal fetch quest to recreate what is basically a, like, Long Island iced tea, like, in the fantasy world. Like, it's stuff like that that are so easy little fetch quests. I love a good fetch quest. I love a good side quest. I love NPCs, though. And so, like, that's part of the thing that I'm working on is, what does it look like that you can translate these experiences into actual redeemable things? Because I know that's a big thing in TTRPGs, is players want to get rewarded tangibly for their characters. They want that stat boost. They want that debuff. But then I think it also goes both ways. If you offend one of these people, you do in fact get nerfed. It might be a rumor gets spread about you, so you have disadvantage on something. It's like, it's not going to be anything body shaming, but it might be, you know, maybe you were a little bit too rude to the person you were talking to, and it got back to somebody. And now they're like, I'm going to charge you extra because you were mean to my friend.
For people who want to build that type of stuff into, like, besides the examples you gave, they want to build it into their world, or a player wants to create a character that has a background in sex work, how should people go about it without it being like a what you see on the TV all the time?
My first question is, how many sex workers do you know? Cool. There's a number there. It's going to be probably the ones that you follow on your secret Twitter account. Listen, I can see when people start following me and that username disappears. I know how it works. I know the hustle. I respect it. You have your private life. It's fine. How many of these people do you actually know their interests? Like with me, I'm very easy in that, like, I am a nerd. I talk about my interests a lot. You might see me accidentally retweet some Call of Duty fan fiction and or fan art on my public Twitter page. You can judge me. It's fine.
I'm not going to judge you because I read Ghost and Soap fic. Leave me alone.
Bless.
Whenever Twitter said, hey, we're turning off public likes, I said, thank God, I can like all the smut and it doesn't have to go into my bookmarks anymore.
Correct. Like, yeah, it's something as simple as that. It's like, do you know a sex worker that you engage with authentically that has nothing to do about what they can do for you? Do you see them as a person? Is my first question always. The next question, is this somebody you're friends with? Do you only see them as a person because you became friends with them because they're hot, or because you had like a general connection with them? Which is then also going into, it's like, the ultimate goal of it in asking like any of those very like leading questions is, do you see sex workers as people? Because you can say, it's like, I want to build, like, for example, with Hyacinth, I want to build a bunny. I want to build a bunny and Pathfinder who's a thief. Cool. Now I also want to build a character who's really good at espionage, but maybe doesn't seem like it because people kind of think they're a little weird. Cool. Well, what can you do with them that makes them a little weird? I gave Hyacinth face blindness. Hyacinth cannot tell Humes from each other. Which became really funny because one of our players was playing a half Hume. So Hyacinth used to ask him all the time, are you related to them? Do you know them? And I cleared it with the player, and the player thought it was fucking great. But it's like, I build out basically the personality of it. And then like I said, I saw a deadly courtesan, and I'm just like, that fits the espionage, the courtesan aspect. What does that look like? What kind of courtesan is Hyacinth? Which is then, Hyacinth's asexual. That was always the plan. Hyacinth's non-binary and asexual. They don't want to do the dirty. But they also know about where the pressure points are. They could probably get that knot out of your back really easily. They're also like very dexterous. Maybe they're a dancer. So it's very much the build a person or whatever is applicable to the system you're playing. Build a character concept. Make them real in your head. And then if you still want to build a sex work element into it, find the element of sex work or even just adult content. Maybe they're a burlesque dancer. Maybe they're a showgirl. Maybe there's somebody who works at a call center, if that's a thing in your world. Maybe it's somebody who's an erotic novelist. Maybe it's somebody who might, be paid to write other people's love letters, which is a character I've played before, or I'm wanting to play.
Okay, Cyrano de Bergerac, calm down over there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly,
that's the whole
true.
premise of Cyrano de Bergerac is writing love letters for somebody else.
Yes. But it's very much don't look at it like, well, because Diamond shamed people for not having sex workers at their table and not having representation of sex work. No, don't do it because I shamed you about it. Like, yes, I am. If you are somebody who did not consider that to even be a thing, I do want you to reevaluate and look internally and work on your community internally before you criticize things. But it's at the same time of like, fully realize that sex workers are people with stories. Go engage genuinely with someone who might be a sex worker or an adult content creator and actually genuinely learn about them as a person with what they feel comfortable sharing with you. This does not mean disrespectfully slide into somebody's DMs asking them for their life story. That's rude. That's rude. Don't do that. People do that to me every now and again. The filtered DMs are where messages go to die. But I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah. Find somebody.
Just find the thing that matches what you're wanting to do concept-wise.
Yeah.
It does require research. It does require initiative. It does require some little bit of legwork.
Y'all have to
it's
Google?
worth it at the end.
Jeez. Oh no.
Oh no. Maybe use incognito browser. But like. Unless you didn't. As your brother.
When we're recording this, it's before Gen Con. We're ramping up for Gen Con.
It is.
And I'm also part of the panel, but
you are. I'm so excited.
There is a panel that's happening that talks about sex work and sex workers in nerd spaces happening. What triggered that panel to happen? And also, were you shocked that Gen Con approved it, said, hey, we're allowing this subject being told, because it's being told, Gen Con's in a red state, and, look at the political climate that we're in. I was like, oh, there's what? Okay. Whenever you told me this at PAX East, I said, yeah, okay. I was like, whenever you said this, I was like, oh, I'll go. I'm totally down to go listen to this. And you're like, no. Part? I said, part?
Join me?
Sure.
Join me? Yes. So the panel itself is called All the Worlds Are Stage. And you can find a link to it in my bio. Which gives a little bit of a synopsis that leads to Gen Con's event page, so then if you want to grab a ticket for it. It is on Friday, the Friday of Gen Con, which has already passed by the time this came out. But, it is what it is. But it will probably still be up, because I don't change my beacons information very often until PAX U happens, so it's fine. But basically, All the Worlds Are Staged as a concept is talking about the stigmatization versus representation of sex workers and adult content creators in the TTRPG space specifically. But I kind of expanded it to be just nerd spaces because I want to include people who might be cosplayers, people who might be in the Warhammers, in the video games, in the board games, and the Magic the Gatherings, stuff like that. Because being a sex worker or someone who creates specifically adult content online is a nightmare right now. Sesta Fosta ruined everything for so many people. And we are still feeling the effects of it. And so trying to exist in the algorithm that is already so hard to combat, no matter who you are, you're fighting against the algorithm. But then it's also having people engage with you genuinely is also an issue. Making sure your voice is heard is also an issue. It's then what I said about, like, I don't want the only thing that I see a sex worker in to be portraying a body on special victims unit, or to be like crying in a scene that something awful happens to them. I don't want it to be that the only time I get to hear about somebody's story is when I have to cast Speak with Dead. I don't want that. I want to learn about the joys. I want to learn about the good times. I want to hear about the hard times within the triumph and the success. I want to hear about what somebody's favorite color is, what their interest is, why they like this outfit over that outfit, like what setting spray you use. It's like what you hate about everything showers. Like, I want to connect with people as people. And then I realize it's like, we don't get that because we are kind of just a pretty thing to look at. Like, my name is literally Diamond because I am a shiny thing to look at. But like at the same time, like I also, diamonds refract, and diamonds can be used as prisms to really like highlight things. And that's what I'm all about, really. And so I thought, like, I want to do this. So I did this a couple years ago on Decrim305's Instagram page, where it was talking about the intersectionality of sex workers in the TTRPG space. Because I'm not the only nerd on the Decrim305 board. I am the main tabletop nerd. To where every time somebody joins us, I'm like, do you want to roll dice with me? I can teach you. Please? And they're like, no, Diamond. Good try. I'm like, darn it. And I do pout. I do pout. But like I pitched it to them because we needed some people to do live streams for us, because we do something called Slut Walk every year in Florida, in Miami, Florida. Slut Walk is to celebrate, I think it's D17, which is usually December 17th, which is kind of that like big day of, hey, pay attention to sex workers. We're literally being heavily discriminated against and it's killing us. And so that's kind of one of those big days. And so Slut Walk is our biggest event of the year. And we were using Instagram Live to promote it. But it's also to highlight voices of sex workers. And I'm like, I exist in this weird space. Let me find some people. So then I brought a couple of people on, had some really cool conversations, made some really cool connections. That post did really well on the hellscape formerly known as Twitter. Like, whenever I posted about it, and I'm just like, hello, new people. And it really solidified like my place in the space through doing that. And so I thought I would like to do this at a convention maybe one day. And I was playing around with the idea of it when I was in a meeting with Eric from City of Glass Games. And Eric's like, hey, Diamond, do you want to just do it at Gen Con? I'm just like, what? He's like, do you want to just do it at Gen Con? I'm like, I guess. He's like, cool, write me up a pitch for it and I'll submit it. And so he walked me through basically the entire process, let me submit it under City of Glass Games, who has a really good relationship with Gen Con. And because I think if I would have done it under my name, under my credentials, it would not have gotten approved. But it's me using the tools offered of an ally of me, of a friend of mine who believes that I could do this, that then pushed me to actually do it. So yeah, but I'm excited to have you on it. It is featuring also adult content creators, like I said. You do, in fact, make adult content.
I take my clothes off on stage. In person. And I've been paid for it.
And I'm so proud.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited. Whenever we're recording this, I'm really excited that because whenever you told me about it, I was like, hell yeah, I'll go support you and go watch it. And you're like, no. Part? I said, part? Okay. Okay. I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I do adult things on the internet as an adult. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I have videos of me taking my clothes off on stage in a club, in other places. So it's one of those things. I'm fully here. Like I said earlier, we support sex works in this fucking house because, why the fuck not? It's work, and under capitalism, everything fucking sucks. Honestly, under capitalism,
Correct.
we're all fucking sex workers. Let's be for fucking real. We're all selling our fucking selves. So.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what I told you at PAX, with it being that, like, oh, well, I'm highlighting sex work, and you're just like, well, I'm not a sex worker, I just do burlesque. I'm like, bestie, that's adult content creation. Please.
I was
Please.
like, I was like,
spend time
of
with
course,
me.
always.
Be my friend.
Be your friend. But this is the part of the podcast where I say, plug your shit. Plug your shit.
So
all
yeah,
the things.
Basically, there's a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that will have already happened by this time. But one thing you can keep a lookout for is if you would like to potentially hear my voice again in some things I'm working on that will still be in production and still be a thing, because since Gen Con has passed by the time that this comes out, there were 3 things going on at Gen Con I was doing. The Power Word Resist, which was a charity event with City of Glass Games, that with a bunch of sponsors, that they put the 2 nonprofits I work with as sponsors on that listing, which I thought was really cool because I did work with them, where we had Iffy Nwadwe, Juicy Garland, and 2 lovely punk bands from Indianapolis at the Indiana Repertory Theater, along with a silent auction where a bunch of really cool companies and really cool creators donated things to us so that we can raise money for RAIN and Gender Nexus, which is RAIN being I believe it's, they usually help people a lot with the sexual assault surviving, and they are basically across the entire nation, and I believe also maybe in Canada. And then with Gender Nexus, they are based in Indianapolis. And Gender Nexus helps support queer communities and who need any kind of gender-affirming community care and things of that sort. So if you would like, please go check out Gender Nexus. The person who was our point of contact with them was very sweet, and they have a lot of big goals that they want to accomplish. Please support your grassroots, and that being the Indiana Grassroots organization we chose with that one. And then for the 2 things I ran, hopefully they went well. Past Diamond, talking to Future Diamond. Both of which you are on, which I am so honored, and will be honored even more whenever it happens. Being All the World's Our Stage, which was on the Friday, which is what I talked about. And then the Die Game, which is Under the Red Umbrella, where the Rebellious Rouges, who is a performance troupe, usually online, who also plays nerdy games together, are pulled into the world of Die by their stage manager and MC to handle their shit. So if you like goth Jumanji, Die's the game for you. It's my favorite. But yeah, and I'll be running probably that same scenario at, hopefully, fingers crossed, PAX Unplugged. Same thing with All the World's Our Stage. I would like to also run that again as programming. Another thing is that if you like hearing my voice, if you like hearing me in podcast form, with a little bit of a video supplement sometimes, the Everbright Archive is something I'm on. I'm also an executive producer and a cast member for the Everbright Archive. I will eventually be one of the storytellers and be the GM down the line. I'm next up in the rotation, so it's going to be great. But currently our storyteller for this cycle is Sphinx Akasha, that beautiful, beautiful man, the current champion of bards, where myself, Brinny Ursa, and Sweet Tea, Bardic Sweet Tea, are all challenging Sphinx for his title of champion of bards with our own little bardsonas. My bardsona is named Jemmy Horde. They are a manticore, and they are the champion of knowledge and secrets from my world of Doradin, but also the curator of epics. And Jemmy is a character. We have a bunch of content through the Everbright. You can find it on my Beacons link, where we talk about our bards in a Build a Bard episode. I run you through Jemmy's entire story, Sphinx runs you through Badru/Grio's story. Bryn runs you through Odile's story, and Sweet Tea runs you through Tyzon's story. But we're currently playing Fabula Ultima, and I play Lysandra Agni, aka Misfortune's Flame, who is a Volpertinger. She's basically a jackalope that also has vampire fangs from basically the European mythologies of cryptids. And it's a good time. We've got, by this time, at least 10 episodes under our belt. And we also do Tea at the Table, being our after show. And then Sphinx and I also do Tea Time Snack, which is, I play another one of my champions from my homebrew world, Doradin, named Cardia Darling, who is the champion of love and communication. Cardia is a changeling who will change everything from the way they look, the room they're in, the way they talk, to make sure they can communicate with you properly and make sure you feel loved in that conversation. But Cardia sits down with different NPCs and gives you a recap in the last 5 episodes of the Everbright Archive, at least for the last story. Who knows what the next one will have entail? Whenever I'm the GM and somebody else might be the interviewer. So yeah, there's a lot of content through that. We also are nominated for a Crit Award for our sound design and audio producing, but really Sphinx is nominated for the Crit Award because he does all of that himself and writes all of the music by hand. So he's done beautiful work with it. I am in fact doing the bait and switch thing of plugging Sphinx Akasha. Please go follow him. He's amazing. Also peer pressure him to cosplay Aragorn from like the Magic the Gathering card. Please do it. He'd be amazing at it. But I'm also a cosplayer. I do a lot of stuff everywhere. On Thursdays, I'm on World Tree Quest playing Melusine Luce Vestra / Glimmertide, who is a triple class. It's a Battlemaster fighter, a Path of the Ancestral Guardian barbarian, and a rogue. I am a tank. I have an AC of 19, and my titties have an AC of 19. So I have a lich boyfriend and a cleric mermaid girlfriend. So it's a good time. Completely underwater, completely homebrewed. Son of Asgard, who is Bran, is my GM and is wonderful. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, but everything's in my Beacons link. You can keep up to date with me on my socials at MadnessDiamond, wherever you'd like to find me. So, but my sign off for everything is K love you bye, because I do believe, oh no. Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay, cool. My sign off for everything is K love you bye, because I do believe you should tell your friends you love them. You should tell people that they are loved in this world. So I am MadnessDiamond. And for me at least, K love you. Yeah. Shelly, take it away.
You can find Diamond's links all down below in the show notes, the doobly-doo, the whatever you want to call it. They're amazing. You should go follow them on everything. You should book them on everything. I'm just saying. Speaking of where you can find people, you can find me everywhere on the internet at Shelly Von Miller, because branding, baby. There's only one of me. Stay tuned if you are a patron over on Patreon and Fourth Wall, because we have our first ever, yes, that's right, first ever Patron Exclusive segment. Go check that out. You can become a patron as low as free, but paid tiers start at $7 a month, and you'll be helping just a content creator trying to live her life and pay for things. Hooray.
Hot and talented and gorgeous and so stunning content creator who you definitely should support. You should give any kind of extra money you've got to this amazing and talented human being who's doing the damn thing and platforming people and sharing stories.
Anyways,
and being gorgeous.
I'm not here anymore. With that being said, I love you guys very much, and I will see you on the internet. Goodbye!